Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nazareth. My name is Paul Hoadley. I'm the chairman of Debating SA. It's been an interesting year in 2020 in a number of ways, but I'm very pleased that we did manage to pull together a face-to-face competition for the students, albeit a slightly shorter one. And we're here today for the culmination of that competition, the grand final. So I'm going to hand you over to the chairperson at this point and get things underway.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2020 Year 6-7 Division Debating SA Grand Final Debate. My name is Helen Bailey, and I am the chairman for this debate. The timekeeper is Marsha Manoir. The topic for this debate is that spot the rubber dog is a good idea. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Parkside Primary School, consisting of Vicky Park, Madison Smith, and Evelyn Wheeler. The negative team seated to my left is from Black Forest Primary School, consisting of Aaron Atkinson, Angelina Zhang, and Sarah Kerr. The grand final debate will be judged by a panel of 5 adjudicators: Miss Tana Hanka, Miss Nar, Miss Sledge, and Miss Choir, and Mr. Carsalaris. The speaking time in this debate is 3 minutes. A single bell of warning will sound at 2 minutes. And a double bell will sound at 3 minutes. If required, a continuous bell will sound 30 seconds after the second bell, indicating that the speaker must conclude their speech. I ask that all mobile phones and other electronic devices be switched off for the duration of this debate. I declare this debate open and call upon Vicky Park to open the affirmative case.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for the debate is that Spot the Robot Dog was a good idea. We define Spot the Robot Dog as a robot deployed by Boston Dynamics in a Singapore park to promote COVID-safe practices as to the link given. We define was as referring to the 2-week trial period of Spot in May 2020, and we define a good idea as a positive purpose of Spot in its potential application. We, the affirmative team, believe that Spot the Robot Dog was indeed a good idea. Today as the first speaker, I'll be talking to you about 3 points. Firstly, how the time is and was suitable for the good idea of Spot, how the place made the great idea of Spot even greater, and that the success of the first trial has led to a second. Our second speaker, Madison, will talk about how the idea of Spot is beneficial for public health, and that the idea of Spot is good for the future economy of automation. Our third speaker, Evelyn, will rebut and summarize our team case. Now to my first point, that the time was and is spot on for this trial of this good idea. We live in unprecedented times, an age where the ABC says that almost 1 million people have globally died from a contact disease, and we need solutions. When crisis comes opportunity. Spot has been trialed short-term in a park to lower the deadly risk of COVID by voice prompts and patron tracking, but the long-term vision is bigger. The Financial Review says that now is the time to invest and use technologies to normalize tech links to safety, culture, and society. The Economist says that inspiration in technology is a rare winner from COVID, and the inspired idea of Spot has tried to sharpen another human tool and idea in the fight for a safe present and future. The idea is and was good for the good idea of Spot. To my second point, that the place makes a good idea of Spot even better. Singapore is a safe and advanced country for Spot to do its business. The World Bank says that Singapore is top 5 in the world for corruption index, innovation, and the best country for low crime and to do business in. While many nations fail to control COVID, Singapore's response has been held up by many as a model because of trust, control, and technology. Spot is a good idea, made better by having it tested in the perfect place for new ideas. Now to my final point, that the first trial was so good it's been seconded for a new round of trials. The robot is right now on its second trial for the Singapore government. The good dog has improved through testing from the first trial with new capabilities to keep the public safe, like mask detection, a beyond visual line of sight, and 3D mapping. The government says the police and population loved both, the idea and the reality of Spot, and that it exceeded its success criteria for a second trial. Who are we to argue? This good idea has continued to be one. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, Spot's idea found its perfect time in the perfect place. been confirmed, so we can conclude that Spot is at the very least a good idea. Thank you.
I call upon Aaron Atkinson to open a negative case.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that Spot the Robot Dog was a good idea. We agree with the definition given by the affirmative team. However, we, the negative team, believe that the statement is false. Today, as first speaker, I'll be talking to you about how Spot the Robot Dog has an abundance of money, both to produce and to buy, and also how Spot is not able to be used in multiple purposes in different environments. The first affirmative speaker has stated that the trial has led to a second trial, which is a good thing. This is false, because if there was a second trial, wouldn't that mean that the first trial went badly? As I will state in my point, Spot does not have many excellent updates because it can still not work in many other different places. Today I'll be discussing 2 points. My first point is that Spot the Robot Dog was a waste of money. This robotic dog is a waste of money that could otherwise be spent on other, more beneficial things, such as education and health. Within the health sector, money could be spent on hospital beds, particularly during the pandemic, in which there could easily and suddenly become a high demand. On new equipment to further develop studies and enhance patients' recovery, on creating new vaccines and medicines, and on increasing wages for health workers, particularly during these challenging times in which many struggle. In the education sector, more money could be spent to improve students' learning, improve school facilities, and increase teachers' wages. Also, as the second speaker will explain, this robot dog will be ineffective in Australia and possibly bring hazards and danger to the public. Now to my second point on why Spot the Robot Dog is a bad idea. This is because Spot is not able to be used in multiple purposes and different environments. The manufacturer's own website, www.bostondynamics.com, describes that this robotic dog is not able to function at all in many areas, such as wet grass and ice, elevated or moving platforms, mesh, ladders, and netting. Also, this robot cannot be used in confined spaces with overhanging obstacles, on objects more than 30 centimetres high, on thin objects that less than 3 centimetres thick, on glass or on clear objects. This severely limits the ways this robot could be used. Furthermore, the website also states that this robot cannot be submerged in water and children should not be near it. This means in different weather scenarios, such as rain, thunderstorms, and lightning, Spot is unable to be used. Again, this very much limits the ways in which this robotic dog can be effectively and safely used. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, believe that Spot the Robot Dog was definitely not a good idea. Thank you.
Madison Mitchell-Smith.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that Spot the Robot Dog was a good idea. We, the Affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is true. The first negative speaker has said that a second child is a bad sign, but it is quite the opposite. Spot wouldn't be second for another child if it was a bad idea. Spot is certainly great. The first negative speaker has also said that they would not be able to be used for different purposes. This is clearly false, for Spot has been used in different things such as melting metal, automated services, and in airports. Our first speaker has already said that the time is and was suitable for the good idea Spot. How the place made the great idea Spot even greater, and that the success of the first child has led to a second. Today I'll be talking about how the idea Spot is beneficial for public health, and that the idea Spot is good for the future economy of automation. My first point is that the idea Spot is beneficial for public health. Spot has and is being used for public health. First distancing in Singapore, and now, according to MIT in Boston, the information from the trial is helping to stop medical workers from getting COVID-19 in other scenarios. Spot is also in charge for delivering medicines, monitoring vitals, and remote communication between patient and doctor. Why? Mass General says that healthcare workers are 12 times as likely to contract COVID than the general public. Every trial helps the other. Clinical immunologist Dr. Paul Reed said that the need to pandemic-proof public spaces in society is critical, and removing the potential to transfer diseases is the first step towards suppressing the risks. The trial Spot is exploring how effective robotics can be in delivering messages, but it is also introducing the world to the idea of their new flexible best friend for the fight for public health safety. My final point is that Spot is good for the future economy of automation. It's clear, says The Economist, that the future work is automated. Spot is a step in exploring this automation, and as a worker has already demonstrated good potential. The BBC said it could be used in airports, bomb defusing, steel melting, and a range of automated services. Having Spot do our dirty work or making it automatic will make us safer and happier. Birmingham University found that workers supported with high levels of automation have more positive well-being, safety, and high levels of job satisfaction overall. Businesses benefit too, with human targeting COVID costing the world economy upwards of 15.8 trillion, says the World Economic Forum. Better tested automation can disease-proof the economy. Spot is in Singapore on work experience. The trial and idea Spot has nothing but positive implications for the economy, worker well-being, and global progress. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, Spot is a good idea because it has so many uses and benefits. Spot is good for public health and autonomy, is a step into the future. This small step into the future will make a big change. Thank you.
To continue the negative case, please welcome Angelina Zhang.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that Spot, the robot dog, was a good idea. We, the statement is false. The second affirmative speaker has claimed that sport is good for the public health. This is completely false, as since the trials on 8th May to 22nd of May 2020, nothing about Singapore's COVID-19 cases seemed to stop or go down. In fact, from this period, according to www.channelnewsasia.com, more than 20,000 people developed cases of COVID-19 that day. Spot, even in the real world, wouldn't do anything to stop the number of people contracting COVID-19 per day. She has also asserted that sport will benefit the economy. This is completely wrong, as there are many more effective ways to allow people to maintain economy measures other than a robotic dog. Sport is both costly and demands heavy safety protocols and manufacturing requirements, which are, as our first speaker stated. Getting rid of human staff also makes them lose their jobs. According to a study run by www.cnbc.com, robots will take over 20 million jobs by 2030 if they kept on developing at this rate. Our first speaker has already stated how sport is a waste of money and also how it cannot access various different landscapes, evidently defeating its whole purpose. Today I'll be talking to you about 2 points. My first point is how technology malfunctions are able to occur to the object and have actually happened, and could cause damage to the public. A news article provided by www.vice.com states how a malfunction occurred during a demonstration of the robot in Las Vegas. The robot seemed to lose its footing and was flailing its arms before plunging to the ground with a heavy thud. This was not publicised by the makers of Spot, as Boston Dynamics did not want people to be exposed to the possible hazards that existed with their robotic creations. Spot weighs around 15 kilograms and has significant power. For example, 10 of these objects can move a truck. If Spot malfunctions, like it did in Las Vegas, in a public area around vulnerable children and elderly people, it could easily cause horrific accidental injuries or even death. Unusual technology, such as Spot, the robot dog, sparks curiosity, which will mean that people will tamper with it. Now to my second point on why Spot the robot dog was not a good idea. According to www.rt.com, Spot does not have facial recognition installed. Without facial recognition, Spot is not able to identify people who are breaking social distancing rules, allowing people who are not socially distanced to go unnoticed and unpunished. However, if this robot did have facial recognition software, then it would interfere with people's privacy in breach of Australian law. In Australia, to collect or store personal information by facial recognition technology is against the law without their permission, under the Commonwealth Privacy Act 1988. That means if Spot did not have facial recognition technology, it could not work effectively, and if Spot had facial recognition technology, it could not be used lawfully in Australia. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, believe that Spot, the robot dog, was not a good idea. Thank you.
To conclude the affirmative case, I call upon Evelyn Green.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of today's debate is that Spot, the robot dog, was a good idea. We, the affirmative team, most strongly and unequivocally believe this statement to be true. The first negative speaker has said Spot won't work outside of the Singapore trial, but we disagree.
seen trials in Chinese hospitals, Boston surgeries, the German army, and Cambodian mine sites. Spot's application has to be trialled before put into better use. Spot is a hugely versatile idea. The first negative speaker has also told you that the robots are costly and far too expensive. But this is not the point of the debate. The trial is an idea, exploring the role of technology in the public interest. Also, Boston Dynamics has designed and supplied their own robot, meaning Singapore is just free leasing. Beta Spot on the market can do so for the price of a small car, $50,000 US. For comparison, KPMG say that the marketing of COVID in Singapore has cost in the hundreds of millions. Pre-marketing alone from a lease of Spot is priceless. The negative speaker has told you that Spot and automation will cost jobs. But this is unfounded and a simplification of a complex idea. As our first speaker said, Spot is human-controlled and made by a company employing almost 1,000 people. And our second speaker spoke of improved human well-being by automating boring and dangerous tasks. Wired says that ATM machines were thought to take over bank tellers, but actually there are more than ever now. Automation helps, not hinders. The second negative speaker has said that Spot can malfunction, but we are talking about Spot as an idea. Spot is a work in progress, but in the long run could turn out to be the greatest idea that humanity is yet to face. Our first speaker, Vivi, spoke to you about how the time is perfect for this good idea, as we are in an age where technology meets the public need, now and in the future, and how the idea for this trial makes Spot as an idea even better. Spot was successful and is now being trialled for a second time. Our second speaker, Madison, talked to you about how the idea of Spot is beneficial to public health and how Spot is good for the coming economy of automation. It can help lives and reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, as Robert White once said, technology shapes society and society shapes technology. We are in COVID time, and now is the time for innovation and technology to shape how we tackle health. Spot is most undoubtedly an innovative, good idea that is great for this world and the future of society. Thank you.
To conclude the negative case in this morning's debate, I call upon Sarah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of our debate is that Spot the robot dog was a good idea. We, the negative team, believe that this statement is false. The first affirmative speaker has alleged that Spot the robot dog has been used at the perfect time to effectively reduce COVID-19 cases. This is incorrect because the robot dog, which was originally released on the 8th of May for a trial period of 2 weeks, did not decrease the case of COVID-19 in Singapore. From May 8th to the 22nd of May, the time when the robot dog was tried in Singapore, the cases rose from 21,707 to 30,426, according to worldometers.info. Although the robot dog was only tried in a certain area, if it really was effective during that trial period, then the use of the robot dog would have been permanent. That has not happened. This shows that other methods were proven to be more effective and cheaper. She has also said that Spot the robot dog was so great at first that a second trial was held. Even if Spot worked well in Singapore, as our second speaker explained, facial recognition cannot be lawfully used in Australia. Without facial recognition, Spot is not able to identify people who are breaking social distancing rules, allowing for these people to go unnoticed and unpunished. Spot can only project a pre-recorded message in the area and use data to record the number of people in a designated area. Even if Spot recognises that there are more people than permitted in an area, this robot could do nothing about that, apart from saying a message that people may ignore anyway. So, Spot will be quite ineffective in Australia. The second affirmative speaker has claimed that this robot dog is able to assist in medical settings. Even if this is correct in some circumstances, there are many places which Spot cannot access, as stated by our first speaker. For example, this robot can be used on objects more than 30 centimetres high, on thin objects less than 3 centimetres thick, on glass or on clear objects. This greatly limits the medical settings in which this robot can be used properly. She has also claimed that Spot is good as it is beneficial for future automation. If that is correct, this would result in a loss of jobs. Any loss of job is bad, especially during these times of high unemployment. Many people have already lost their jobs due to the lockdown, and we do not want even more people to lose their jobs because of robots. This would cause even more damage to our already fragile economy. Perhaps the only benefit of using robots is saving money, but the cost of purchasing and maintaining robots would eliminate that benefit anyway. Our first speaker spoke to you about how Spot the robot dog is a waste of money. She described that money spent on Spot could and should be used for other purposes that benefit our community, such as in education and healthcare. She also stated how Spot is not able to function within many different terrains and environments. Territories such as elevated platforms, ladders, wet grass, ice, and mesh are all unsuitable for Spot to navigate on. Our second speaker spoke to you about how potentially dangerous technology malfunction occurred with this robot only last year during Las Vegas, and how if this occurred in the public, then the elderly and children could be affected. She has also referred to Spot not having facial recognition, allowing for wrongdoers to go unidentified, thus reducing the effectiveness of this robot. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, strongly believe that Spot the robot dog was definitely not a good idea. Thank you.
making it to the grand finals and for such an entertaining debate today. As each of the 5 adjudicators arrived at her and his decision independent of the others, there will be no individual feedback. Today's decision was a split decision of 4-1. The winner of the grand final for 2020 is the Affirmative team.
I call upon a member from the runner-up team from Black Forest to give a vote of thanks.
I would like to thank the chairperson and time for helping with this debate, the audience for taking the time to watch and support us, the adjudicators for judging this debate, the Affirmative team, and of course the cameraman. And lastly, we would like to thank our debating coach, Ms. Langman, for supporting us throughout the debating season.
I call upon a member of the winning team from Parkside to second that vote of thanks.
Alright, well, I don't have anything else to say because the Black Forest already gave it and said everything we have to. But we'd especially like to thank Mr. Freak, our amazing debating coach, for just helping us do this debate. Because without him, we wouldn't actually be here. So yeah, thanks Mr. Freak. We'd also like to thank you guys. Thank you Black Forest for being an amazing team to go against for grand finals. And yeah, thank you to all the parents for bringing us here. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. I now declare this debate closed.
Come over here and it's the Clayton's presentation where you touch momentarily the cup, but you don't get to take it home because we have to have the winning team